Hello and welcome to Don't Catch That Shit. I'm your host Deekay, and today we are going to discuss about another very important topic, and that is poverty. Look at what is happening around us, within our community or society. The wealth is not distributed appropriately. If we look at the wealth distribution, then we will come to know that a lot of people in our country are below the poverty line. And after we got our freedom, it has been a lot of decades that should be enough to get everybody above the poverty line. But unfortunately, that has not been the case. Despite having a lot of resources within our country, we can see that there are so many people who are even not having the basic amenities. Still, there are people who are struggling to have a decent life, in the sense that there is a lack of infrastructural facilities. There are still villages that do not have enough basic facilities, as in we still are not having roads everywhere. We still are not having electricity. We still are not having provision for water. So these things of water, electricity, road, these facilities are required. And this has been a great concern of many people, that we as a country, we have not provided enough to our citizens. There has been many decades that people are not getting electricity. They are struggling to get even the washrooms. And these are the basic human needs that everybody needs to have. We have seen a lot of progress in last decade, that we have seen that now we are getting the roads, the infrastructure, basic washroom facilities, and electricity is also reaching to many villages. But still a lot of work needs to be done, and together as a community, we need to ensure that our cumulative wealth as a country gets distributed to rural areas. In addition to the urban facilities, the rural area should also get basic facilities. That is one aspect of getting our people having a decent life. The other aspect of giving a decent life to our people is that we need to provide good opportunities so that they can earn money despite leaving their own hometown, their own villages. There should be enough source of income. Unfortunately, we have failed in this area, that a lot of people need to leave their hometowns, their villages, even their estates to find a job elsewhere. This is the area that needs to be improved a lot. Apart from this, we can see that there are a lot of people who travel a lot even to do their jobs, because they don't have the jobs in the surrounding, and when they find a job which is far away from their home, then it becomes very difficult for them to travel every day and then do the job and then come back. Though this transport thing is now getting improved, but still there are a lot of areas where transport is not proper. We need to look into that also. Other aspect of getting people above the poverty line is that we need to upgrade their skill set. A lot of people are not finding a job because their skills are not what kind of jobs are available. Especially in the rural areas or the tier 2, tier 3 cities, we need to upgrade the skill set of our people, in the sense that now the industry is maturing. Now the industry is changing fast. The technology upgradations are there. A lot of new applications, a lot of solutions are coming based on the new technologies. And we are yet to roll out a plan wherein our youth, wherein the people who are living in tier 2, tier 3, even villages, they can upgrade their skills. And there are not many institutes who are doing such jobs of providing the education, providing the learnings, so that people can upgrade to the required skills in a fast and required time frame. A lot of work needs to be done in that area, and so we need to get to the root of poverty itself. When we talk about poverty, then we need to understand that the human needs of hygiene, of basic requirement of nourishment, food, their shelter, requirement of electricity, there is a requirement of transport. These are some of the basic requirements that every human needs. But historically, if we look at the time when India got its independence, we were left with very less resources, in the sense that we didn't have the industries, we didn't have a lot of options to earn money through jobs. Whatever we could do that time, it was not enough for our population. So a lot of people, they were living in villages and they were having their own provisions of livelihood through whatever way they could do, like agriculture is one of that. Apart from that, there was not much support from the government side as well. Agriculture is something that needs a lot of support from the government side, because due to the weather changes, due to certain other natural calamities. Agriculture sector, it is very volatile in the sense that it can affect the crops, and the expectation of farmers are not met because of so many other reasons apart from natural calamities, apart from weather changes, and a lot of decades passed after our independence where our agriculture sector didn't receive any kind of support which was required from the government side. Hence, we were a country of that dependent on the agriculture. So we did not find good infrastructure, good facilities, good support. That's the reason that a majority of our population didn't find avenues to earn the money in a manner that was sufficient to live a good life, a decent life. So a lot of our farmers, a lot of our laborers, they lacked the basic amenities, the basic facilities, and they remain below the poverty line. That's why our country, despite having a lot of resources, natural resources, despite having great potential, we could not compete with other countries who got independence at the same time or during the same era. We also got independence. But unfortunately, we were not that focused around giving a good life to our people. We could not develop infrastructure which was required, which could have been done. And for majority, for our masses, in order to have a decent life, they need to buy houses, they need to have provision of good earning, they need to have a transport system. And many decades passed by where we could not even provide a mechanism wherein all people could travel from villages to the cities. And it took a lot of time to travel from villages to cities because the roads were not there. The roads were not there, and people used to struggle even to get to the cities. That was an era that, despite having manpower, despite having a lot of potential, we could not deliver. We could not get these people out of the poverty line. So lack of employment, lack of basic infrastructure, transport, lack of government support in providing the education, skill set upgradation, technological advancement, all these things were lacking. So we could not make sure that our people get all these things which is required so that they can have provisions to earn money and to go above the poverty line. Things are changing. Things are changing now. As a country, we are doing pretty well. And it is appreciable that our country is now developing a very good infrastructure, a lot of highways, a lot of connectivity is there. Now our villages are getting connected to the cities. Our villages or small towns are getting connected. A lot of transport mechanisms are now being developed. Highways are in good condition. There has been a lot of express highways connecting various places of economic zones. A lot of economic zones are now getting developed, wherein people can find jobs, and not only the government jobs, but there are a lot of provisions wherein one can find the jobs in private sectors. A lot of initiatives has been taken wherein people can get the commercial loans or many other kinds of loans where they can start their own small businesses. And these things are very encouraging. we have managed to get a lot of people above the poverty line in last decade. And that thing is quite motivating. But we still have a lot of areas that needs to be developed. We need to ensure that economic zones are developed in small cities and near this tier 2, tier 3 areas, so that our people need not leave their hometowns, and the economic zones can be developed in the nearby locations where people need not go to big cities to find jobs. That will help in many ways. One is that our big cities now are getting overcrowded, as well as people coming from small towns, villages, they are finding it very tough to survive in big cities. The cost of living is high. They have to leave their hometowns. They have to travel a lot. And this is required. But if we can provide the jobs in tier 2, tier 3 cities in a way that the youth need not leave their hometowns. The youth can find the jobs in the nearby localities. That would be one area that can be improved further. Then we need to make sure that the people who are living in below poverty areas, we need to make sure that these areas gets identified. We need to identify the areas that these are the areas where people are struggling a lot to have basic needs. And once those areas gets identified, we need to have a systematic provision to develop the economic zones around those areas. A lot of government support would be needed for that. The private players needs to have a vision of working with the government initiatives. And it could be a partnership, a public or private sector partnership, where economic zones are developed nearby the areas where we are yet to get people out of poverty. If there would be avenues of finding the jobs nearby areas, then people living in those areas, they would definitely be able to get the jobs, and they would be able to raise their standard of living. This is one area where we need to work with priority. So we have to look into many aspects of poverty. And one of the aspects of poverty is that when we are not able to provide the basic infrastructure, if we have a transport system which is developed on the good infrastructure of good roads, connectivity, and we need to have our economic zones strategically developed in the locations, strategically identified, considering the distribution of wealth in our country. So if there are locations, if there are villages, towns, certain cities who are lagging behind in terms of standard of living, in terms of the opportunities that people are getting over there, then we need to develop such certain economic zones in a way that if those economic zones are near to these locations, which are historically less privileged, people are not getting good opportunity to use their potential or to develop their potential, develop their skill set, then we need to have some provisions wherein public-private partnership or government initiatives in any way, we need to develop the economic zones around these locations which are historically underprivileged, where people are not getting enough opportunities, so that they can also get opportunities to get good jobs and industries around those areas, new technological development, research centers, government projects. There could be many ways to develop employment opportunities around those areas. So instead of flooding some cities with economic opportunities and overburdening those cities, we need to distribute these economic activities in such a way that our population can get the opportunities equally, area-wise, state-wise. We need to work in that regard. That will give a lot of advantage in terms of people leaving their hometowns, people migrating from one state to another state. If we can ensure that we have a proper data, proper survey of which all areas are not getting enough opportunities, we need to now start focusing in that regard. That would be one way to tackle this issue of poverty. And then we need to enrich, we need to enable our villages, small towns, in such a way that they themselves can make use of certain government initiatives in order to develop their own economic activities. Now the government is running certain schemes wherein people can find some easy loans or loans where they need not pay heavy interests, to ensure that they can have their own small businesses going on. But these schemes needs to be supported with skill upgradation, learning, a lot of education opportunities around these areas where the youth is not finding good infrastructure, good learning opportunities, where the colleges are not there. They, even if they have to have the higher studies, they need to travel far, they need to leave their hometowns. And if we can ensure that our education facilities or education infrastructure is available around these areas where people are struggling to find the education opportunities, to find the job opportunities, thereby we need to fill this gap which is there in our country. We can see that a lot of people are still not having the basic amenities, the basic facilities to have a good life. Electricity, road connectivity, water provisions. There are so many other things which they do not have. And for these things, they have to spend a lot of time to get water from somewhere, and then they have to spend their time without electricity. Students find it very tough to study. And in such locations, we need to make sure that there is a proper survey, proper identification, and then government schemes, public-private partnership, special economic zones. A lot of economic activity now needs to be there in such locations. That is one aspect of working towards poverty. The other aspect that we need to have in our country is social security. We need to ensure that a part of our tax collection should be allotted towards the social welfare, towards social security. Nobody should be living in adverse condition, because now when our country is having good resources, or country is having good economic activities, good tax collection, then we need to make sure that people are not living in adverse conditions. They should have right to have the basic provisions of having a decent life in terms of infrastructure, in terms of kind of facilities that everybody deserves, electricity, roads, basic livelihood, which should be there with everybody. Basic cleanliness, hygiene aspect. A lot of initiatives have been done in recent years regarding the washroom facilities, and a lot of awareness programs are there so that people can start to look at these things as basic things, and a lot of campaigns are there from government. But despite that, we need to develop a lot of infrastructure in terms of transport. Even if roads are there and the transport facilities are poor, then also people will struggle. If the buses or public transport or trains, the connectivity is not good, then people will still find it very difficult to travel to the locations where the economic activities are happening. So one is that the infrastructure, the other is the transport provisions. Decent transport provisions should be available to everybody. Every part of our country must be connected with good roads, infrastructure, good transport system. And that is one thing that we need to work on, so that if these things are available to people who are living in underprivileged locations where economic activities are not that good, if the infrastructure is available, they would still be able to travel with the transport. But we have seen that in our country, even the basic road has been like a dream to many villages, to many small towns. But now things are changing, and it needs to speed up. It needs to reach to every part of our country as soon as possible. Apart from infrastructure, transport facilities, we need to have the education system which is designed in such a way that our education should be providing a lot of skills. Nowadays, technology is there in every field, and people everywhere should be having good institutes, so that even if someone is living in an underprivileged areas, then if they can have good institutes around, they can upgrade their skills. They can, if they are skillful, if they have right skill set, then only they will be able to find jobs. We cannot depend on government jobs alone. The private sector is playing a very important role. And with this current era of apps, a lot of apps are being developed. A lot of services are being developed. Services wherein a lot of people are working now for deliveries. Services like Amazon, Uber, and so many other kind of new facilities, new services which are now available. A lot of people are finding jobs now. These things should be happening in the areas which are not having such activities, such economic facilities. Then we need to identify and start implementing that. Infrastructure, transport, availability of good institutes, skill upgradation, and then a lot of government initiatives, public and private partnerships to develop economic zones. Then we need to have a lot of campaigns wherein we can start educating, we can start spreading the awareness among our poor community that they need to be focusing towards education, towards having their own small businesses with the help of government initiatives that now provides loan with a very nominal interest or without interest as well. Small businesses can be started through government funding. Those schemes needs to reach to these people through campaigns, through awareness programs, so that they can use such schemes which are there available from government, and that is one aspect that needs to be improved. Apart from that, it is the responsibility of our community as well that we should stop looking towards poor people as if they are burden to the society. They should not be given that kind of treatment that we have a divide in our society or community, the divide of rich and poor. That is one thing that we need to change psychologically, through our behavior, through our value system. We need not look down. We need to give respect to every individual, irrespective of their status, their financial status. We need to start looking at every field, every job with respect. We need not have that divide of white collar job and the other kind of jobs that people are doing. An electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, a gardener. Everybody should be having pride in whatever they are doing. As a society, as a community, we should not be having that kind of attitude towards certain fields, that we start considering that if someone is doing that work or this work, then they are not having worth. That is our combined responsibility. It needs to change. Whatever a person is doing, if that person is doing that job with honesty, with integrity, if the person knows his work, that person needs to be given respect for what he is doing. If it is not a white collar job, if it is a normal job of giving some kind of service to your household, the maid, the house keeping people, everybody needs to be given treatment which is fair. Respect should be given to every individual. We see people who are having a lot of pride, a lot of ego with their status of richness. If they have money, if they have money which is more than other people, then they would start looking at other people in a way which is not nice. So we need to have some sort of reflection within. And when we start to develop the community in a way that everybody is treated fairly, if a person is good at doing something, irrespective of what he is doing, we need to give fair treatment, a lot of respect for what they are doing, for their skills, for their hard work, for their sincerity, for their honesty, for their integrity, for their creativity. We need to give a lot of respect. In that way, we can create that kind of environment, that kind of culture around us, that everybody is celebrated. Everybody is celebrated in a way that people feel respected. People feel that their work is getting appreciated, irrespective of what they are doing. And we should not look down. We should not be having a biased attitude towards that this kind of job, this kind of thing is of high status. We need to get out of that thing. If we start to create such a culture where people are respected for whatever they do, but if they do it in a manner which reflects their commitment, their hard work, their sincerity, their honesty, and as a community, if we start to give a fair treatment to them, respectable behavior with them, then we can have a very good culture of respecting each other, culture of valuing each other. Then the divide of rich and poor, the divide of high status, low status, that will start to reduce. And it will be a better society, a better community, if we can have this kind of change in our country. So the economic status should not be given that kind of judgmental aspect, where we start to judge people based on what they have and what they don't have, what a person is having financially. That should not be the criteria of respecting that person. The criteria of respecting a person should be that if that person is having certain value system or not. A rich person can have a very bad value system. A rich person can be having a lot of problems with ethics, with morality. Then despite having a high status, high economic status, that person do not deserve the respect. But traditionally, this is not how our communities, how our society is functioning. Unfortunately, we give a lot of weightage to the economic status of a person. We give a lot of respect to the person who is having all the signs of having a rich life. I'm not against the wealth or economic status. All I'm saying is that a person needs to be given value in terms of what kind of value system that person is having. A financially rich person could be a very poor person, ethically, morally, and a financially, economically poor person can have a very rich value system with good ethics, a lot of morality. Then we should have that kind of culture wherein a person is not judged on the basis of have and have nots. A person is given respect based on their behavior, based on their values, based on their actions, based on their karmas. So we need to have this kind of changes in our society, and we need to have different standards of making someone or ideals, making somebody or heroes. If a person is very successful, but he does not have basic etiquettes of treating others, then that person is poor. Despite having a lot of money, a lot of success, that person is still poor because he has not still earned the spiritual assets. He has not built his character. And we need to have this kind of culture, this kind of society, wherein we don't promote the ill behavior of anybody, despite their status, their success. And even if a poor person is having a lot of values, if a poor person is not ill behaving, he's having a good attitude, good behavior, good moral and ethical aspect, then that person deserves a lot more respect than someone who is rich and successful, but still he throws his tantrums, his or her bad attitudes towards others. So we need to have these kind of changes if we really want to have a society that is not a superficial society that has a substance, society which is having a good foundation, where good things are appreciated and bad things, real bad things, are identified, not just your economic or financial status, but your behavioral, your character is given a lot of importance. That kind of community we need to develop. But often we see that if a poor person, if a person is not having a financial status, then he is given a very biased treatment. He or she is judged in a way which is not nice. So such kind of stereotypes we need to identify, and we need to get out of this kind of mentality. Then we would see that not having a lot of money is not a bad thing. In fact, a lot of people would choose not to have excess things in life, and they do it out of their own conscience. So they are contented with whatever they have. So if that is coming from their own mindset of not having excess things, then that should also be respected. The way we idealize money, the way we idealize richness is blinded. Often we see rich and famous people and we start idolizing their life, their lifestyle, their activities, whatever they say, whatever they do. People start to follow that. But often we forget that there are a lot of other heroes, other people who are not having a lot of money, but still they carry a lot of character. So character needs to be given high regard, and in our community, we need to give this kind of value system to our coming generation, that how they should not mistreat others based on their financial or economic status. This way, the divide between rich and poor, the kind of mentality that we have around poverty, around richness, then we need to have a lot of campaigns, a lot of programs to upgrade living conditions of poor. Keep writing, stay safe, stay healthy, remain aware and conscious, become the part of this movement. Until the next episode, be peaceful, blissful, and be aware.